Italy, Spain, France, they're all very different from Portugal. And I think
Yeah,
that it's an important point to make that this multicultural mix has made a family like mine feel very much at home, very welcome. We don't feel like we stand out or in any bad way. We like to stand out, but we feel very accepted and welcomed here. And part of the fabric, I feel like this is really what Portugal is about. It is about welcoming people from different corners of the world. And it has such a rich history. It has such a rich past. And I think that that really makes it so unique to live here. The other really unique thing that you touched upon that I want to just mention explicitly is that in Portugal, nobody language shames you, right?
and that's a huge
Which is a
thing. Yeah,
huge thing. When I lived in Germany, unless I spoke perfect German, somebody or the other was constantly correcting me, correcting my pronunciation or correcting which use of word I would use with my use of word, and it can be they don't necessarily mean it in a bad way, but it can really affect you when you're trying to learn a new language, right? And learning a new language is hard, right? No matter what age you are or when you do it, it's a hard process. I'm one of those rare people who enjoy the challenge of learning a new language. So I
yeah,
take a lot of joy in this process. But still, if someone were to language shame me, it affects you.
yeah.
And it affected me in Germany. It affected me in Denmark. But in Portugal, I find it so different
Yeah.
because here, no matter how you butcher the language, a Portuguese person will never language shame you. They'll always appreciate you for the effort of speaking their
100%.
language. And
100%.
they'll help you, and you won't walk away from the interaction feeling inadequate or
Yeah,
feeling
yeah,
embarrassed or
yeah.
ashamed. You'll feel like, okay, I'm making an
Th-
effort and it's
yeah,
being
yeah.
recognized. It's being
They're
validated.
actually, yeah, they're actually hesitant to correct you because they don't want to offend you. Like I found when I first started speaking Portuguese, people wouldn't correct me, and I know I'm butchering it, and if only when I would ask, they would
Mm.
say, "Yeah, pois, you said that one a bit, you said that a bit wrong. This is how you say it," but it's done with so much love and acceptance. And I've been language shamed in France many times. I've been language shamed in Spain, and
Mhm.
it's not nice. It's not nice, And okay, these times I'm there on holiday to live, it must be worse. But yeah, that's a huge one. You mentioned something very interesting. You used a word, empathy, and often people say, the Portuguese are very kind. There's a similar word, sympathy. It's not the same as empathy. Um, but it's such a great way to describe the Portuguese that they're empathetic and
Yeah.
like just unpack that. Why do you think they're like that? What does that look like for you in your experience?
Mhm. So I would unpack that in two ways. I would say they're culturally empathetic. They genuinely want to know which cultures you're coming from and what do you
They're
cook at
curious as well.
home.
Yeah, yeah,
Curious. Like, they'll ask me, do you make Pakistani food at home or do you make Italian food at home? Or, the answer is yes to both. We don't make German food. That's a, that's no. But
sausages.
there isn't much there. I
Yeah,
don't want to offend any German, including my husband, who might be listening to this podcast. But German desserts, yes, for sure. But they're culturally curious, so that's one part
mm,
of their empathy, and then the other part is the linguistic empathy, where they don't make fun of you if you speak Portuguese with an accent, or you speak Portuguese clearly it's not your first language, or you're not a native speaker. And I find these two things so valuable to teach to my own third culture kids, right? Linguistic empathy. Just because somebody sounds different from you doesn't mean you get to make fun of them or that they're any less than. So it's a
yeah,
great message that Portugal, I feel, gets it right,
mm,
that empathy is practiced in different ways. And Portugal, I feel our experience has been that it allows us to enjoy this kind of empathy in many different ways, whether it's
mm,
linguistic or it's cultural.
yeah,
And every time we talk about our multicultural household here in Portugal, we only are welcomed with, oh my God, that's amazing and that's wonderful. And just like you, what languages do you speak at home? And people are curious to learn more. They want to be invited to your summer barbecue because they know it's going to be a great mix of
yeah,
cultures and cuisines.